What's up, everybody? Tonight we're going to talk about Erickson Lubin versus Vergil Ortiz and more when we come right back. Welcome to another episode of Ring Walk Boxing Podcast. I am Bean. And to everybody all over the globe, hopefully wherever you are in this beautiful world, hopefully you are having a good day. So we're going to jump right on into the boxing talk, y'all. Oh, but right before I do that, as my cousin Lando will say, aka Trill, we in your face. So to the people here in the Cincinnati area, we have the August edition of In Your Face magazine. In the description area, you will see more about the In Your Face magazine, the merch, and different things that we have here at Ring Walk Boxing Podcast. Okay. Came out really, really nice, actually. So big shout outs to Trill and to my cousin Kev McFly. All right, y'all. So after seeing a couple of these fights over the weekend on the Zone, with Jake Paul being a heavy influence in the boxing world, we saw some pretty good matches on the Zone. And also they did make mention of Yardy versus Benavidez. So it's looking like Yardy versus Benavidez is going to be a go. That I don't foresee it being a situation where Beterbiev is going to be stepping in. It looks like it's going to be Yardy versus Anthony Yardy versus David Benavidez. So, with that being said, what is your prediction to those in the chat? Also, if you're viewing this from Facebook, I really appreciate your support as well. But it's really, really important to come over to YouTube. In the comment, there's a link. Just click that link and come over to the actual YouTube channel and view it over here and hit the thumbs up. So I want to know your prediction. Anthony Yardy versus David Benavidez. How do you see it going? Also in boxing news, y'all, Ike, let me see how you pronounce his last name. I always mess up his last name. Let me see if I can get it right. Ike Ibeabuchi. He returned to the boxing ring after 26 years. For those who may have followed him, he did a lot of time in prison. Well, he's out of prison, and from what I can see, he got his boxing license at the age of 52. So he came back into the ring and got a stoppage in the third round. Me personally, a man who's 52, 50 and older, even in your 40s, it's pretty much time to hang the gloves up. You do have exceptions in the past. Big George Foreman was exceptional to come back to boxing in his 40s and to be able to become a champion again. But everybody's not a George Foreman, y'all. It is what it is. There's only one George Foreman. Like it's only one Muhammad Ali. There are certain fighters, they're only once in a lifetime type people. And even though the president, Ike Ibeabuchi, was very dangerous, because if you look back at his old fight with David Tua, they were in the trenches. But looking at him recently, from the footage I saw, he just doesn't have the same reflexes as he's an older man. He's still in pretty good shape to be 52. He's still in good shape. but the reflexes, it looked like he was struggling to close distance between him as an opponent. He was struggling to close that gap. And then they're saying that he calls out Alexander Usyk. I'm like, ain't no way, y'all. Respect to the president, but nah, man, that ain't gonna work, man. Usyk is young, still on his pivot, and there's no way that the president can do anything with a young elite on top of his game, Alexander Usyk. So since we're speaking about Usyk, let's talk about the fact that, you know, there was it was an extension due to an injury, from what I'm hearing. Whether or not it's true or not, I don't know. But it's being said that he was injured. So, of course, the fight with him and Joseph Parker hangs in the balance. Now, some of you saw the video we couldn't play because of, I guess, certain rights or whatever. But if you go on YouTube and look up Joseph Parker calls out Usyk, he does a jingle, like a song, and he's calling out Usyk. But at the time, the purse bid situation kind of got pushed back because it was supposed to be a 30-day. Within 30 days, know what's going on, or it goes to purse bid. But then the extension happened that Usyk needed more time due to an injury. So we're dealing with all those kind of cobwebs right now. But, you know, with boxing, you always have those twists and turns. Shout out to Cam J. That's fam. And check him out for sure. Cam J Network. Also, shout out to Scoob. Appreciate you. Shout out to Michael Ware. Mike Ware. What's going on, y'all? All right. So, Erickson Lubin versus Vergil Ortiz. Scheduled for November 8th. Now, I don't feel either opponent, in regards to Erickson Lubin and Vergil Ortiz, I don't feel either opponent is a walk in the park for the other. I feel like it's pretty much an evenly balanced fight, and they both bring their own attributes and different tangibles to that ring when they fight. So it's really a fight I can't really make a prediction on really just yet. I would say a 50-50 fight in my estimation. But hey, you might see it differently. So let me know y'all's opinion. Who do y'all think wins November 8th, Erickson Lubin versus Vergil Ortiz? Let me know your prediction in the chat, please. And also, if anybody's trying to hop on, let us know. We can get a link dropped in that chat for you if you want to hop on for a little bit. Now, I saw an interview with Akim Barak. That's the source on YouTube. With Vergil Ortiz, because I'm kind of talking about him a little bit. And in regards to Canelo versus Crawford, Ortiz said he feels Bud is potentially biting off more than he can chew, but he does give Bud a slight chance of winning. Vergil Ortiz said, I'm paraphrasing, if Bud pulls off the win, he's a great for sure. You can't doubt the greatness of Bud Crawford if he can beat Canelo, technically moving up 3 weight classes. Only having had one fight at 154 to go from 147 to 168, I don't think that's ever been done in the boxing history, as far as I know. And I see Des Scobie. I know you're young, but you do a lot of research on the older fighters of the past and stuff like that. So if somebody on the panel, if somebody in the chat knows something differently, let me know. Has anybody ever went 3 weight classes up and actually been successful? Because if not, then that means Bud is definitely treading waters that have never been tread before in the sport of boxing. And that would show the markings of a great fighter on a whole nother trajectory if he can pull off that win to be a much smaller man, to step up into the division that Canelo's been running for a long time and win. Now, what makes it even more remarkable, if he won on a decision, that's huge. But if he actually won by stoppage, if Bud stopped Canelo by I know it's a far stretch, but if Bud could stop Canelo, I know the boxing world's gonna be buzzing, man. It's gonna be off the chain because nobody sees that happening. The fact that Canelo has a granite chin, Canelo really has never really been even hurt a lot, fighting people like Triple G, fighting people like Floyd Mayweather back in the day, the first person who ever beat him, even fighting a much bigger, a weight class bigger, fighting Dimitri Bivol, and he didn't knock out or stop Canelo. So for Bud, that's going to be such a tough feat, but I wouldn't say that it's not. It's going to be a tough feat, but it can be done. It can be done because Bud is definitely special. He's just different. His mindset, I think the way he trains, all that, he's different. Now, I also seen on social media that Canelo has Boots Ennis in preparation for the Bud Crawford fight. That he's using Jerron Boots Ennis as a sparring partner. So, hey, that's going to be interesting. So we're going to see, y'all. We're going to see in the next few weeks if Bud can do the unthinkable. And also, like I was saying, man, big shout outs to Cam J. Because I'm gonna talk about Cam J here, y'all, in just a second. But let me finish up a little bit about Vergil Ortiz real quick. Now Vergil Ortiz does give Boots Ennis his props. He was saying that he's like a top 15 in his opinion. Vergil Ortiz claims that Rashidi Ellis, he said Rashidi Ellis, Blair Cobb said no to fighting him. So, in the words of Vergil Ortiz, Rashidi Ellis and Blair Cobb did not want that smoke. That's what he told Akin Barak on the interview. Now, they asked him what would be like 3 opponents he would want to fight. And Vergil Ortiz replied, Charlo, Fundura, and Bakram would be the 3 opponents he liked to face. Also, in an interview, they kept alluding to the fact that Vergil had a hand injury. So they were being very careful when they were shaking hands with him. So I don't know the extent of that injury. I don't know if Cam J or Dez knows about the injury with Vergil. Is it like a finger injury or is it like his fist, like his knuckles? I don't know. But they said he has some type of injury. So hopefully whatever it is, it's going to heal up before this Erickson Lubin fight. which they got a while from now to November 8th. So hopefully he doesn't do too much hard training to where he will re-injure that hand. All right, so pertaining to Cam J, y'all. And if you missed it, Cam J did an interview with Scooter Davis. So I want to touch on that interview that that Scooter Davis did with Cam J. All right, Scooter Davis, he talked about boxing Keon Davis. Keon is the brother of Keyshawn Davis. He talked about Xander Zayas and the two guys that went pro. And he was saying how a lot of guys didn't make the cut. That there's a lot of people who were boxing, like in an amateur background and stuff, but they didn't actually get to make it into the pros, whether or not they just didn't, maybe they just didn't have enough level of enough of a skill set or a level to where they would be at a level to fight as a pro, or they might have just took other career paths. Some might fall off and go back to the streets or whatever. You know, some people don't always stay on that path. But shout out to Scooter Davis. Seems like to be a young man who has his head on straight. And I really enjoyed the sit down talk with Cam J that he had. And Cam J also made note of the fact in his interview, he said to Scooter Davis, "You love going to the body of your opponents." And he dropped a couple of different clips in that interview, playing it back. So Scooter Davis, y'all, his record 7-0-0. He talked about being an old soul. Also, he kind of talked about the kind of music he liked. He said he likes the Isley Brothers. So shout outs to the legendary Cincinnati's own Isley Brothers and the Temptations. So he has an old soul. He likes listening to the music his parents and grandparents grew up on. I'm the same way. One of the best points was that Cam brought up about Inoue and Abdullah Mason being dropped, and how people label and they dub certain fighters as quote unquote being chinny. Well, like Scooter Davis responded, and to me it was a epic response. He was saying how the people they say are chinny, majority of the time it's a narrative. Anybody can get clipped, but it's how you deal with the aftermath of being hurt. What adjustments you make, what you learn from the experience, etc. So I like the way that the young Scooter was kind of expounding on what people always consider somebody being chinny, because they talk about the fact that Abdullah Mason was dropped, even though he got up to win that fight. So, I think that the word chinny is overused, and people resort to it far too much. Like every boxer that gets hurt is not chinny, because all it takes is the right shot that you don't see, the right timing, the right pressure, and you could be rattled or you could be dropped. That's the sport of boxing, y'all. It's been like that from the beginning of time. And we know that boxing is a very primitive sport. It's been around for centuries. So yeah, it was a lot of good knowledge from that young man, Scooter Davis, in that interview with Cam J. So salute to Cam J. Now I'm hearing that potentially there's negotiations starting for Deontay Wilder versus Francis Ngannou. So for the MMA guys, I know like Dez Scobie, I know you, little bro. You follow MMA a lot. I don't follow MMA very heavy anymore. I used to follow it back in the day when you had like Rich Franklin from Cincinnati, um, the one guy that was very wiry, Anderson Silva, um, guys like him, the guy out of Miami, Kimbo Slice, back in the day. So there were some MMA guys I was familiar with way back in the day. But as far as the new jacks of the MMA, I couldn't really tell you because I don't really follow MMA. I'm strictly follow boxing. But anyway, Ngannou is an ex MMA fighter who is now he also now is boxing as well. He had 2 fights in boxing. His first debut was against Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is a fighter that many regarded at that time to be the best heavyweight that there was. This is prior to him losing to Usyk twice. So at that time, Francis Ngannou was a novice in the sport of boxing, coming over from MMA into boxing. If you go back and watch that fight, it was a highly competitive fight, and Ngannou even dropped Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury could not strong arm Francis Ngannou. A lot of tactics that he used on Deontay Wilder, put him in a headlock, leaning on him as the bigger man, trying to wear him down. You got to remember, he couldn't do those things to Francis Ngannou because Francis Ngannou background was MMA. So he was used to being put in headlocks. So every time Fury tried to grapple him, he would do a maneuver and get right up out of that. Every time Fury think he could drain the legs of Francis Ngannou showed that he had a strong foundation. And he had very strong foundation to where Fury couldn't wear him down. So all the little extra theatrics and what people call the dark art, which is like being kind of doing some dirty tactics, it wasn't going to work on Francis Ngannou. And he kept Fury in check all night long. And it was a long night for Fury because you could tell he couldn't do what he wanted to do. What he could normally do against smaller guys, he couldn't get it off on Francis Ngannou. But anyway, Francis Ngannou, shortly after the Tyson Fury fight, he fought Anthony Joshua. And I think it was like in the second round, Anthony Joshua knocks Francis Ngannou out clean. Well, up to date, Francis Ngannou may be fighting Deontay Wilder. I know some people say they don't want to see this fight, but I just have the intrigue of seeing it only because Ngannou fought Tyson Fury. He fought Anthony Joshua. So in the beginning of when I started watching boxing in this era, the 3-headed dragon was Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, and Deontay Wilder. So Francis has fought 2 of the 3. So why not fight Wilder? Just to see. Because you know it's going to be bombs. You know it's going to be a situation to where whoever lands flush first is going to be the victor of that fight. So if Wilder cannot pull the trigger early enough, often enough, I see him going to sleep. Not Tyson, but Wilder would be knocked out by Francis Ngannou if he cannot pull that trigger. Now, speaking of MMA and stuff like that, we know that Jake Paul has fought a lot of ex-MMA fighters. And now it's being said that Jake Paul will be fighting Tank Davis. There's a lot of people up in arms about this, especially boxing purists or people who just don't like Tank Davis. They're definitely going to use this to say that he's ducking um, Lamont Roach Jr. That's been the narrative, is that he's ducking Lamont Roach Jr. Now, in the way I see it, this is just my opinion, y'all. I don't see it as a duck. However, I see it as a means of him getting a big bag, that he's going to get more money fighting Jake Paul right now than he's probably ever got in a single fight. Now, my only issue with this, because I talked to the church about this, Sean, aka the church, we were saying that we don't have a problem with Tank fighting Jake Paul. Our problem is if he fights Jake Paul just to retire after fighting him. We feel like even though you fight Jake Paul, you get the bag, whether it's 50 million or whatever, 30 million, whatever it's going to be a big bag. We still want to see Tank versus Shakur Stevenson. We still want to see Tank versus Lamont Roach Jr. rematch. Now, Barry Hunter was in an interview recently, and he spoke about this. He said, yeah, Tank, get the money, basically. Get the money, get the bag. But after you get that bag with Jake Paul, you have unfinished business with Lamont Roach Jr. So I feel like that fight still needs to take precedence and happen. So let me see. Talk a little bit about Devin Haney just a tad bit, because he also did an interview with Akin Barak, and he pretty much said how they kept asking about his dad's influence on his career. And he pretty much said, Devin Haney said, hey, me and my dad are a package deal. So basically, for those who didn't know, now you know that's the way he feels. That, hey, regardless of what his dad does that he might not always agree with, they might talk about it behind closed doors as a father and son. But to the public, he's always going to ride with his dad, and his dad's going to always ride with Devin. That's the way I took it. He also stated that he can't wait to see how it feels to fight at 147 pounds. That's what Devin Haney had to say to Akin Barak. He also talked about potentially working with Andre Ward and how it could be beneficial for him. So, hey, Andre Ward and Devin Haney, if Andre Ward does take Devin Haney under his wing, that could be a good thing for him. That could definitely be a good thing for him. Now I guess the question is, if he does link with Andre Ward, would it be in time and preparation to fight Brian Norman Jr.? And that to me is going to be a great style matchup too. Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr. So if you got a prediction on that in the chat, please drop it. Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr. What is your prediction? How does it play out? Also, I want to talk about Daniel Dubois was said to have parted ways with trainer Don Charles. Now, the things that I've heard in different interviews is that there's no bad blood with Don Charles and Daniel Dubois. But me just looking at it from the outside looking in, and I want to know y'all opinion too. If Daniel Dubois gets with was it Tony Sims, I believe, that they're saying that he may start training with Tony Sims, I believe. If either Sims or Tibbs. But I can actually look it up to make sure. Let me see. Yeah, Tony Sims. So I just don't see to where Tony Sim is going to make a big 360 for Daniel Dubois, because Daniel Dubois already has certain his skill ain't obviously like a Tyson Fury or a Usyk, but he's age 27, which is natural. He's at his grown man strength at the age of 27. He has extreme punching power. His footwork is mediocre and stuff like that. So he doesn't have anything to where it's like, other than power, youth, and things like that. His skill, his boxing brain is just okay. It's nothing like off the meter. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't see what Sims can do any more than what Don Charles would do. Because in my opinion, I felt like Don Charles was going to condition the mind state of Daniel Dubois. You know, he treats him like a son, almost like a father and a son. But to me, I think that Dubois is his own worst enemy. I think it's more of the Dubois mentality more than, switching trainers. Because regardless of what trainer you get, if it's not all the way up here and somehow you have certain things that are throwing you off course or whatever, it don't matter who you got as a trainer. They're not going to be able to rewire that if your mind ain't with the program as it should be. I'm about to read these comments, y'all. Sorry, I was kind of rolling through a couple different subjects. All right, so shout out to T Hill. Shout out, bro. What's good, Mike Ware? Cam J Network again. Salute. Cam J, you said 26 years in prison. Oh, okay. So I knew he was in there a long time. So the 26 years was actually his full prison term. Wow. Yeah, that's a long, long time, man. 26 years. Mike, where you said, I think the fight was in Africa. Yeah, I think so. I think it was in Africa. Dez Scobie, you said David Benavidez should be able to get decision victory. I won't be surprised to see an Anthony Yarde upset due to his chin, power, and hand speed. Okay. Michael Ware, you said Dez Scobie. I'm thinking exactly like you. Dez Scobie, you said Joseph Parker versus Ajit Kabiel in the meantime to keep the division flowing. I like that matchup, man. Yeah, Ajit Kabiel is like a dark horse in the heavyweight division. And seeing him against Parker, that'd be a good matchup for sure. Two good chins. Ajit Kabiel is gonna put calculated pressure, and Parker is like a boxer brawler, so it'd be real good to see that. Dez Scobie, you said depends on which Lubin shows up. Cam J, you said 60-40 Vergil. Oh yeah, that's what's up, fam. Dez Scobie, Vergil Ortiz via stoppage, round 10 to 11. Mike Ware, you said I have Ortiz, unanimous decision or a stoppage. Mike Ware, you said Sam Langford and Henry Armstrong. Jab Queen, salute Queen. Des Scobie, you said Duran and Mosley went from 135 to 147. Okay. You also said Des Scobie, Kell Brook 147 to 160. Shout out 15, Zone 15. What's up, Mr. Yisrael? Des Scobie, you said Winky Wright 160 to 175. And you also said Scobie, background. I can never pronounce his last name. Marta Zelev. I can't even pronounce it. I have to hear the announcers pronounce some people's last names just to know how to pronounce it. But you said he's the real boogeyman background or backroom, however you pronounce it. You said thumb injury. Okay. With Vergil Ortiz. Mike Ware, you said, I don't see Charlo making 154 again. If he makes it, I don't know how much he has in him. Okay. Fair enough. Cam J, common hand injury for Vergil. Okay. That's what's up. Jab Queen, you said I was about to say, damn, he got another one. What's up with these guys in their hands? I know, right? Shakur Stevenson. People say he got brittle hands, and now Vergil Ortiz hand injury. Yeah, these boxers be going through it when it comes to those hand injuries. T Hill, you said poor wrapping technique and probably not using the right gloves. That makes sense. They got to protect their hands and wrap them just right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. T Hill. T Hill, you said I've been thinking of you and you've been thinking of me. Let me see. Cam J, you said Scooter Davis next fight, September the 5th on Pro Box TV in DC. Oh yeah, September 5th. That's right around the corner. So we got to definitely tune in for that one. Support that young man for sure. Shout outs to Scooter Davis. Des Scobie, whoever lands first fight. That's the fight we realized the Wilder fights took a lot out of Fury. AJ has a point to prove in that fight. Hey, can you drop that link, bro? Hey, Des Scobie, we got a link coming, yo. You said you heard 30 million talking about the Jake Paul and Tank Davis. That Tank Davis would make 30 mil. Hey, salute to you, Boxing Source. Salute to you, fam. My fam in the DMV area. What's going on, bro? Des Scobie, you said Haney if he doesn't fight and only box. Yeah, he would have to box Brian Norman Jr. because if he tries to do like Shakur did with Zapata, it could be a nightmare for him. Because Brian Norman can crack. And he's not that slow on his feet, as people think he is. He can cut off the ring, let him tell it, and let his dad tell it. And Brian Norman Jr. can cut off that ring. Boxing Source, you said slight edge to Norman. Also got to take in consideration the ring size. Yeah, the ring size does make a difference. For sure, bro. For sure. And if y'all haven't checked out the Boxing Source, check out my guy's his YouTube, the Boxing Source. Got some very informative information, and he has a lot of special guests on there. He be having some good special guests on his show. Mike Ware, you said if Haney runs him, if actually fight Norman, remember he was dazed for 2 rounds against JoJo Diaz. Cam J, my sis Jab Queen boxing in the building. Absolutely. She is here. The queen is here. Hold on 1 second. 1 second, fam. Dez, you said Tony Sims specializes in combo punchers. Hopefully he can help Dubois hand, speed, and footwork. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess time will tell. And if they have a chemistry that can gel together, I say more power to them if it works. Boxing source, you said I'm rooting for Lubin against Ortiz. Okay, you try to break it down for me, boxing source. Murtazaliev. Martazaliev. Okay, I think I got it. How do you pronounce it? All right, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can see you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. Um, so you were saying Tony Sims specializes in combo punchers?
Yes. Yeah, from what I was looking at, what he can do, um, he worked with Ricky Burns, he worked with Anthony Crawler, and those guys are combo punchers. So, in my opinion, I think he'll be able to help Dubois if Sims is a real teacher like that, and if Dubois is capable of learning, pretty much.
Right.
But the Lubin and Ortiz fight, that really all depends on which version of Lubin shows up. If it's a Lubin that's just, I don't care what the fans want, I'm just trying to win. He could beat Ortiz like that, the way he could finesse a victory like he did against Abel Ramos, but he likes to fight, and that'll put him in trouble because I just think Vergil Ortiz has a better chin than he does, and it's a little bit more durable than he is. And that's just from the Fundora fight. I just think that fight just took a lot out of him in a sense because he didn't get stopped. The corner threw it in because both his eyes were shut,
Right. I
and
remember. Yeah.
his nose was broken. I think too. Like he was trying. Like it wasn't like he wasn't trying. Like he even knocked down Fundora, but it was just that fight. Whoever matched up that fight should get fired because that was just a bad matchup, pretty much.
Yeah, you
But
heard AB. You heard Adrian Brown. He said PBC put you in there with gorillas, man.
what? you want to fight? Bet. Here you go.
Say they're gonna throw you in the deep end.
Look what they did to Tim Zoo. They say you want another shot? All right, right now. Right now.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Now,
I agree. I think this fight with Virgil and Lubin is a very interesting fight. Crazy because of Lubin. no, of course he was mandatory up with Bacron for the IBF, and he turned away from that mandatory with Bacron to go chase an interim title in the WBC with Vergil Ortiz, and probably more lucrative than the fight that he had with Bacron. Obviously, with Bacron and Lubin, the problem was the fact that they didn't have anybody to fund the fight. That was the problem.
Yeah,
That was the big issue. So that's why those talks fell through, and now you got Bacron. He's going that the IBF. They mandated him to face Josh Kelly. Of course, Josh Kelly and
yeah.
Bacron was talking before Lubin negotiations went down, honestly, and Josh Kelly turned away from it. So now, coming full circle, you got Josh Kelly and Bacron back at the table again now. And we talked about the 154 division on my show earlier, man. But it's a deep division, bro. It's a real deep division with a lot of main players in there. And last night with Abaz Baru beating Eunice Celeste last night, that made him a guy that's in the mix now. He's the interim champion for the WBA now at 154, and he's going to eventually get
Yeah, Yoel
elevated.
Gomez.
Yeah, he no Abaz Baru, he fought on the MVP card. Him and Eunice Celeste fought last night.
Gomez. Yeah, Yovis won.
Nah. It's Eunice Celeste and versus Abaz Baru.
Another fight.
Yeah,
Oh,
they fought. Yeah, they fought last night. Eunice Celeste is the PBC fighter, and he was the interim
yeah.
champion. He was the WBA interim champion at 154 heading into that fight last night, and he lost last night to Baz Baru. And Baz Baru, now that he's interim champion, he's about to eventually get elevated. And we were talking about it on my show. That was the main topic on my show, talking about what's next for Baz. And of course, you got Boots that's about to fight Usama Lima coming up October 11th. That's a WBA title eliminator. Now with Baz Baru getting elevated, don't be surprised if you see Lima and Boots end up being an interim title fight after a while. And plus, other news came out today that, of course, with Jamel, he's still the champion of recess for the WBA. They saying that they may throw him in the mix with a Baz Baru to get a title shot. So PPC, they still got a lot of they control the 154 division with like the WBC with Fundora, and now they had to last when PBC lose last night, but with Jamel being champion of recess, they may throw him in the mix and fight Abaz Maru next possibly now ahead of Boots.
Hey, to add on that, I heard from a bird that PBC and Bob Arum might be trying to make some form of a joint deal with Prime starting next year to have some more monthly boxing going on to compete with the Zone. Since Top Rank no longer on ESPN, because they're already going to be doing a joint card pretty soon. And so then I heard that they might be Prime and PBC already had kind of a love-hate relationship going on, but this may even help sweeten the pot. More fighters, more matchups, more shows, more money to bring in, more faces to bring in, and hopefully it'll force, because Xander Zayas even turned down a couple fights, in situations most recently, and he been hiding, over in Top Rank recently, in my opinion.
You think they got him in protective custody over there in Top Rank?
Bruh, think about it. Like, you can literally break down 154 like this. You got the guy that people think they can beat, but we don't know, and that's Fundora. You know what I'm saying? And then you got, he's the close to undisputed with 2 of the 4 belts. Then you got Backroom. Don't nobody say his name. Ortiz did say his name, but you could have chose to unify with him. He ain't got to fight. He in a voluntary. You're in a voluntary. Y'all could have just unified, or not even unified. Just, hey, yo, I want to fight Bakken for his belt. I want to drop my interim belt and fight him for his belt. But he ain't.
They looking at Bakken as even though he's a champion at 154, they're looking at him as high risk, low reward. You know what I mean?
He is a high risk. He is a high risk, low reward fight, because his showcase fight against Tim Tszyu, which wasn't supposed to be a showcase fight, he was supposed to be the opponent, and he literally put the whole division on notice. Like, okay, yeah, 3 knockdowns in 4 rounds, it's over, it's done. Like, and then at that point, and I even heard a rumor that he sparred Fundora and made Fundora look stupid. And that's why they're kind of like, not unless we really have to with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I mean, right now, oh, you got something to say, Ben? Go ahead, Ben.
Oh no. I was just saying in the background it's that little sound. I don't know if it's from the headphone or the mic.
Like, I'm good.
Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm good. I sound everything sounds normal in my back.
Yeah, can you hear that, Des? Like a little like
It's like an echo.
yeah, like an echo thing.
A little
Like
bit. It's fine. It's fine. I say though, with Xander Zayas, we speaking on him, Xander Zayas, he's in a position right now. Of course, he's a WBO champion now, and of course, they had the negotiations with Vergil Ortiz and him, which I knew that fight wasn't going to go through. The reason why I knew that fight wasn't going to go through because I know how Top Rank moves. When Top Rank, they got a guy that's on the roster that becomes champion, they automatically give him a hometown fight. And no, that's what when Virgil and Xander was talking about fighting and stuff, Xander kept telling Virgil, meet me in Puerto Rico, meet me in Puerto Rico. No, they don't want to fight you in Puerto Rico, bro. They were trying to fight you on neutral site. They were trying to get the fight with Virgil and Xander to be in Vegas or Cali. And Xander, he start on wanting to fight in Puerto Rico for his first title defense. So no, that of course that fight fall, fell through. You got Virgil. He's fighting a little bit now, November 8th, which is just to add a little context to that November 8th card. I'm hearing Kid Austin is going to be on that card. Um, Amari Jones, the new signee from Golden Boy, that was with Devin Haney. He's going to be on that card. So definitely look out for that for sure. Definitely interested to see who Kid Austin fights on that card for sure in particular. But going back to Virgil and Xander, Virgil's fighting November 8th, and then you got Xander. He's looking for his next opponent, and of course we was running through the rankings earlier in the WBO, and the perfect guy for Xander, in my opinion, is Giovanni Santillan because he's a top ranked guy. He just moved up to 154 in recent time, and he's just coming off of a couple wins. He won a couple of times after he had the loss versus Brian Norman Jr. at 147 last year. But he's coming off a couple of string of wins, and he's a top ranked guy. And of course, top ranked, they love the in-house fights. So they'll definitely look forward to possibly matching them up and having Xander defend his title for the first time in Puerto Rico, possibly against Giovanni Santillan. So that's something to look out for right there. And then who else you got? You got shit with now like I said, Bachram. Fundora is about to fight Thurman October 25th. That card has been building pretty
Yeah,
well.
that's crazy. Fundora versus Thurman. I'm surprised that I'm like Thurman need to give a deposit when he make a fight because he's just so brittle and liable to pull out of a fight due to injury. I'm like he got to give like a deposit to a camp. If he make weight, boom, you get the money back. But I'm surprised that they even made that fight, him and Fundora and Thurman. Because
you see what happened though, like how this shit came full circle from last year.
I want to see Thurman more active before he gets the title shot.
Tim Tszyu, right? So you remember Tim Tszyu and Thurman was supposed to fight last March, right? Then Thurman had.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then Fundora was on the card originally, and then they moved him up, and then Fundora he beats Tim Tszyu. And then 2 fights later, Fundora to beat Cordell Booker, and then he beat Tim Tszyu in the rematch, obliterate Tim Tszyu in that rematch fight, where it wasn't even really a close fight at all, even if it would have went the whole 12. You know what I'm saying? Fundora's been looking sharp this 2025 year. The shorty's been looking good, and Thurman, he's coming off a fighting in Australia with originally he was supposed to fight Tim Tszyu, but Tim Tszyu he had a fight with Fundora, so he took the title fight with Fundora instead of fighting Thurman, and that left Thurman out. But now Thurman is back in the loop now because originally he was going to end up fighting Vergil. Vergil and Thurman was in negotiations, and then Thurman said, "No, I don't want to fight Vergil. I don't want to fight Vergil." And then PBC offered him the opportunity with Fundora, which is the ironic thing about it with PBC. like they are always trying to put like some of their guys. Like last year, they gave Danny Garcia a title fight against Wandy Laura last year. You know what I mean? So they're
That was
putting the
crazy. And
veterans. They're putting the veterans in place for title fights and big money fights and stuff. Like it's their last way out. Like they're making sure they get some good paydays on their way out for sure.
yeah, I can respect the hustle to a degree, but I mean, hell, I remember that card, that Zoo, the original Zoo Keith Thurman card, and then I remember when Thurman got injured, and then I'm like, the way they shuffled that whole card around was crazy. Because I'm like, wait, what? The co-main dude is now in the undercard, and then it was crazy how they worked that around. That's kind of, you kind of understood.
They do it perfect though,
favoritism at that point. With
how you supposed to do it though. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you the reason why. That's what you're supposed to do. You got like say you got a main event like similar for instance, I give an example. David Benavidez playing fighting Anthony Yardy. They got Beterbiev on a card. Say Yardy ends up getting an injury, whatever. Beterbiev, he good. Pull him right in to fight David Benavidez, sustain the card. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's great matchmaking.
No, I understand the hustle. I don't knock. No, I understand the way the business moved. It's just that the way they moved it around with Fundora immediately after the loss, when
giving them that
when Bohachuk was already interim. So I'm like, wait. How does the interim not get moved up to the main event when Fundora should be having to give him the rematch, give him Mendoza for a rematch? You know what I'm saying? Just thinking like that, but there's a reason I'm not a promoter. I ain't got favoritism like that.
Right.
I mean, I just think it was more so a sense like, Fundora, he coming off a loss, but then he was the best guy available to bring up at that time. You know what I'm saying? In that spirit of time, because that happened with Keith Thurman. That shit was like
marketability,
it was like 2-3 weeks prior. Like, you know what I mean? So I think that fight, it wasn't even that long. I think it was like a week and a half prior. So they had to make it.
But what's crazy was like with Bohachuk out the picture at the co-main event, they had to bring another replacement.
Bohachuk went on that card. Yeah, Bohachuk went on that card. Yeah, he went on that card. Bohachuk at that time, he fought Vergil. You remember that fight with Bohachuk and Vergil that they had?
Yeah.
They had their own card. I think they was fighting. Matter of fact, they weren't even on their own card. I think they was on one of the Saudi cards. And Bohachuk around the time he fought Vergil, that was a real competitive fight where they was about to originally bring that fight back after Vergil fought Madrimal. They was about to bring that fight back, but then Bohachuk, he ended up going another way. Now you got Bohachuk. He's about to fight Brandon Adams in a rematch fight on the prelims of Canelo and Bud as the main event for the prelims.
Yeah, I was surprised they haven't ran back Bohachuk and Ortiz again already. But Oscar De La Hoya always kind of move in his own weird way when it comes to matchmaking.
Absolutely, like all these promotional companies in certain ways they're gonna move their fighters, perfectly. You know what I'm saying? And Golden Boys, like definitely a great one to do. They know the matchmaking. They've been doing it for years.
Joe Still was a great matchmaker. Joe Still was a great matchmaker. He's been their matchmaker for a long time now. And he's helped them move a lot of guys in place. And look what he did for Ryan Garcia. Shit.
Absolutely. But then, like, in certain occasions too, like sometimes Golden Boy be holding some of them boys' hands with the matchmaking though. At times, like guys like Zepeda being 30-something, and you know what I'm saying, you get up to the big fight, and then you know what I'm saying, you don't win that big one. You know what I'm saying? So like you got cases like that, like Edgar Berlanga with Top Rank and going into Matchroom, like perfect matchmaking for Edgar Berlanga. He gets the Canelo, get whooped in that fight, and then he gets the Helms and Saraj and get dominated after he beat a guy that was in prison for 10 years.
The thing is with Berlanga is like I called him a showcase fighter. Like he's like, look at this. Look at my new toy. You know what I'm saying? That's what Berlanga was. And then I'm like, okay, there's gonna come a time where he's gonna have to like show that he's more than just this gimmick. And they gave him Canelo. I'm like, no, give him. I'm like, whatever. It is what it is. And then like when they said Hamza, I'm like, Okay, all right, and pretty much beat down of the year so far.
Yeah. He got tore up.
And it was so crazy, man, because like we was talking about Carlos Adames, man. For us, Carlos Adames, he's WBC 160-pound
Middleweight
champion,
champions, yeah,
and
he's very underrated. Like,
Janet Beck's been at his helmet over the last month and a half on Twitter, like telling him to sign the contract, calling him a coward, and calling him the P word. No, Carlos, Janet Beck on Carlos Adames. He's been like harassing Carlos Adames on Twitter the last month and a half. Like I've been talking about it on my channel a lot. Where
who's been
at his neck. Janet Beck, the 160, he got the IBF and the WBO.
Gangster?
Yeah, he got the IBF and the WBO title.
Yeah, that's a bad move.
They put out a graphic. They put out a graphic earlier this week, saying, telling Adames to sign the contract. And Adames, Adames hasn't said no. He has not said this man Janabek name or nothing. He has not responded to him. No. Janabek's tagging this man on tweets and everything, harassing this man. And Adames don't want no smoke.
Don't want the smoke.
This man Adames, he got the nerve to be talking about Hanson Sarai still. Talking about I want to fight Hanson Sarai. So I got word, man. Salute to my brother L Dub Boxing, man. He told me he told me that Lord Intel Adames is looking to move up to 168 and possibly fight one of the guys in the PBC banner at 168, like a Charlo or Caleb Plant. So, look at Adames, moving up to 168. Possibly, I think that's the move. You know what I'm saying? He wants to fight Hanson Sarai for some reason, but Hanson Sarai right now, he's in place for a Canelo fight right now. If Bud loses to Canelo, Turkey, that's what he wants. He got 2 more. Canelo has 2 more fights on a deal with Turkey after this fight, September 13th. And he's been pushing this Hanson Sarai fight next.
Yeah.
Now, hey, KMJ, have you heard any developing news on Nick Ball?
Nothing new with him right now. I don't think Nick Ball is going to fight none of the champions. That's just me, honestly, because just looking at his performance last week, yeah, he won.
He won, right?
But he won, but it wasn't like dominating fashion. A lot of people out here feel like he lost.
Right.
If Nick Ball comes across a fighter who can control distance, it's over with.
Nick Ball, even his wrecking ball style that he has, he don't have power to stop a lot of guys at 126.
No, that's why if he goes against someone who can control distance, then he's in trouble.
Shushu said they offered him $2 million, which was kind of off to me. I'm like, who was Top Rank? Was they the ones that offered him $2 million, or was it Turkey? I don't think it was Turkey, because then you had Nick Ball come in the interview and mention and say no, Shushu was capping. So I don't know who to believe in that exchange.
Top Rank cheap. That sounds like a Top Rank deal. We'll pay the champ $2 million and give Shushu $1 million.
Shit, I think about it with Nick Ball. I'm like, is he even making $2 million a fight?
Right.
I don't even think he's making $2 million for real.
Hey, I always say this. People say remember Demetrius Andrade? That dude made about $8 million fighting for Eddie Hearn. And he ain't really fight nobody. He was still able to get $8 million during his time with Eddie Hearn before he went to the PBC. So them dudes making some money with Eddie. Eddie Hearn paying these dudes something. Trust me.
Paying a little bit, but we know the history of Eddie Hearn, man. You know that boy is shiesty, man. He like to lowball these fighters, man.
The whole matchroom,
some of these fighters
history has been shiesty.
I don't be like that. Hearn be moving, man. He be moving shiesty over the UK.
His daddy was shiesty.
And then
Barry shiesty. What are you talking about? Barry King shiesty.
He elevated what his dad did. I will say that he elevated that shit and took it to a whole
but you gotta give Barry credit though. Barry was able to tell Nassim Hamed, hey, stay with me. Don't go to Frank Warren. The fact that he was able to keep Nassim Hamed forever, his whole career. I'm like, that should let you know that Barry got a silver tongue. He know what he doing, bro. He came from billiards and He came from billiards and darts.
Man, Eddie Hearn is a funny guy, man. Just with the promotion,
Oh,
like
he's hilarious.
he does. Like my thing with my great with Eddie is the fact that I feel like he don't go hard for them American fighters as the same as he does for his UK fighters. That's my
No, he
problem.
don't.
I
No, he
mean, like, and
don't.
I feel like you should go hard for all of your fighters to the same level as everyone. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be no different. You picking and choosing who you gonna go hard for, and I see that with him. And you know, it happens with
Yeah.
all the promotional companies, but just him in particular, he does it in a way where it's like, all right, I'm gonna put Shakur on two turkey cards and get the promotional fee off of Shakur instead of trying to make Shakur more of a superstar, similar to what he's trying to do with Boots and Bam, giving him main event in America and showcasing his talents, and giving him a more look and a more broad scale way. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my thing with him. Eddie should have gave that opportunity to Shakur, but he didn't want to invest in no money in Shakur. And he's always talking about Shakur as a superstar, this and that and everything, but you're not putting money behind Shakur, honestly, because all you're doing, you're putting them on turkey cards and you're taking a promotional fee. You know what I'm saying? While you
Yeah.
got Boots. I mean, I don't even like the fact, like, you got Boots main event, but you have a main event in Philly and Jersey and Atlantic City because that's the areas that he can sell at and you're going to profit off of, which is smart. Yeah, you want to make money in the business. You don't want to lose no money. You in the game to put out the money for the event and everything and make money and profit for sure. You know what I'm saying? That's the name of the game. But at the same time,
But he can find a
if
way
you
to
want to
push south, like try to
if you
grow,
want
like
to
try to
push,
push more south, Florida, Atlanta,
push it in
Louisiana,
different areas.
Texas.
That's similar to
Maybe
what
not Texas.
WBC
Maybe
did
not
with
Texas. Over here in
Tank.
Texas, our commission kind of shady. Our commission kind of shady. We got a history of having some shady ass commission over here. So I wouldn't say Texas.
I mean, I would say move Boots around in different areas, put them in, Vegas and put them in Atlanta, move them around and stuff and market them
That's a
and,
good
see where
idea.
his market's at. Because, a lot of people, other eyes, you get more eyes on him in these different states and he gets to grow his stardom, you know what I'm saying? Because he's an amazing fighter. So you want to test the waters and take some gambles on pushing, like you pushing Bam being in Texas, then you will see him in Cali, you know what I'm saying? Like, Texas, he's a Mexican, star. He's a Mexican fighter, so no, he's going to
Well,
get a lot
Mexicans
of different
invest no matter what.
Yeah, there is more
Mexicans invest no
future
matter
left
what.
in doing that.
If you a champion, hell, if you're like a top 10 contender, and you show up, they put money down. So that's just how I roll with with the Hispanic communities. I can't even cap. Like I've been to a couple fights out here in Texas. I went to the Maurice Hooker and Jose Ramirez fight, bro. You
Oh,
wouldn't even have thought Maurice Hooker was from Arlington. How many Mexicans up in that joint? And
man.
Ramirez and Jose Ramirez is from he's from San Fresno. He's from Fresno, California. So
Mm-hmm.
and it was what 15,000 people in the Arlington basketball stadium, and I'd say seven or eight of them were Mexican. 8,000 of them were Mexican.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm just
So
reading the comments real quick. I'm looking at Michael Ware. He spoke about Rafael Espinosa destroys ball. You know what I mean? And said ball too worried about anyway. Yeah,
the
wait, Rafael
6 foot
Espinosa.
featherweight.
Rafael Espinosa, literally, in my opinion, at 126, he's the best fighter at that division. And I seen
One's the
Shusha at this fight
6 foot
recently.
heavyweight.
Man, he brought up Raphael's name, talked about he won't smoke, and my thing is, Shusha, okay, force that issue. Both of y'all on top rank. Let's see it. What we talking about?
Yeah.
Shusha, don't lie. Don't almost shoot. Shusha, actually, for real, I'm putting this on Shusha's jacket today. I don't want to see nobody. I don't want to see him fight nobody else but Raphael now. You called him out after the fight. Raphael was out there in the stands. You know what I mean? I want to see it. Raphael Espinosa versus Shushu Carrington, 126. I want to see it.
Yeah, I mean,
Right now, I
Rafael
forgot though. Shushu's
Espinosa,
in a good position though because
he's a menace to
Raphael.
society, in my
I forgot.
opinion.
Yeah, my bad. I forgot. Shushu, he's the WBC Interim champion now, the 126. Stephen Fulton's
Yeah,
about to fight Oshaki Foster on the Fundora Thurman card October 25th
yeah.
at 130. So that's going to elevate Shoot. So he's going to be a WBC champion. But that's a unification right there then. Let's get this unified up. Let's see it. Let's run it.
But Shushu is gonna wait out the for the Oshaki Fulton winner. He is not gonna try and fight Espinoza unless they offer him way more money than he's seen so far. Period. But then talking about around the division, I heard that now that the quote unquote the Lopez Stevenson fight could be happening sometime next quarter, 2026, early quarter 2026, that Hearn was going to try and not Hearn, I don't know. Yeah. Hearn was going to try and send an offer to Lamont Roach for a fight with Ford.
Nah, I don't know. I don't think this is me
Raymond
personally.
Ford.
This is just my opinion right now. I don't think the I don't think the To and Shakur fight has much legs on it due to the fact To move weird, man. He's always calling out all of these black fighters and stuff, and then when it comes to negotiation time, he talk about I want this, I want that, and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? He on some diva timing, and a lot of these guys ain't willing to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? That's why Top Rank they like, yo, y'all, hey, Keith Conley, that's your fighter. You managing him. Hey, go get him the fights. We want our promotional fee off of him. That's all we want. We ain't even going to invest in him no more. We just want our promotional fee off of him. And with T.O., man, it's just I don't know what he's going to do. Shakur, for one, he ain't fighting no time soon till next year. He's letting his hands heal because apparently he done hurt his hands the week before he falls to pay. And so he was in this Zepeda fight with her hands fighting that fight and throwing all of them punches and everything. So I definitely ain't seeing Shakur fight until spring of 2026, regardless of who it is. That's just me. And regarding to Lamont Roach, he's going to have another fight before whatever he does after that, whatever. He wants to fight on pro box for his next fight. And our opponent that I heard name wise, I heard Gabriel Flores, which was kind of crazy. This name was kind of floating for Kid Austin too. So Gabe Flores, his name was floating around for Lamont Roach. He's fought on Pro Box TV before. He's independent. He's not signed to anybody. So Pro Box TV, Lamont Roach, they have like a little code deal, whatever going on.
It's like a management deal they have. It's like I think it's something I've never heard of it before, but yeah, it's some type of management deal he has with Pro Box TV.
Yeah, it's a management deal, and then like the event September 5th that they Pro Box having in DC. That event is co-promoted by Pro Box and No Excuses, that's Lamont Roach and his pops company, No Excuses Promotions. His brother is fighting on that card, Jordan Roach. He's fighting on that card as well, along with Scooter Davis. Scooter Davis will be on that card, man, for sure. So definitely gonna be a lot of high action impact fights on that Pro Box TV card. And they got another card September 27th coming up with Najee Lopez on the card and Nicholas Splies on the card. So Pro Box TV got some bangers coming up for sure. And,
that's the new ESPN Friday Night Fights.
Yeah, they lit, man. Go ahead, man.
Let me ask you and Scope this. Even though, like you said, Cam, about Shakur, in his hands, but just say in a hypothetical setting, if him and Lamont Roach Jr. fought, I think people think Lamont Roach is food for Shakur Stevenson. I don't see it that way.
They do. They absolutely do. And I don't see it that way either. Because both of those guys were counter punchers in reality. You know what I'm saying? Both of those guys ain't guys that's gonna want to press the action amongst each other. So it's gonna be a whole chess match especially with Shakur, because Shakur already said after his fight was a Peta, he said he ain't gonna fight like that anymore.
Exactly.
He's going back to his old style.
Yep.
So we're gonna get the defensive Shakur, less offense to Shakur. You know what I mean? Like with Lamont, he's a guy that's a counter puncher. You know what I'm saying? He's not willing to press the issue as much as he'll press the issue more than Shakur, I believe, in the fight if they were to fight. So
Right.
it makes up for it. It's really a 50-50 fight to me. And to be honest, it's a 50-50 fight because Shakur don't have the power to like really put pressure on Lamont, in my opinion. Lamont, he's a decent puncher, but he ain't no like crazy puncher, you know what I'm saying, where he got a lot of knockouts. Like he got like 8 knockouts, you know what I mean? So he ain't got many knockouts in particular, but I mean that matchup in style wise, just in particular, it'd be an interesting fight to watch. I definitely covered and watched that fight if it was the Lockhorns for sure. But that's a 50-50 fight for real. Like it's not a sweet fight for Shakur. Like people will probably give Shakur the edge, just saying just because of his experience and how wise he is in the ring, his ring generalship and stuff and everything, stuff that Shakur does well. That is probably a little bit of more of a level above Lamont, but it's not a walk in the park for Shakur though. It's not. It's really not because Shakur he has to show us that you can bring offense to the table consistently. You got to be consistent with bringing offense to the table. I'm expecting you
Yeah.
to go out there and try to punch with a guy 1,000 punches per fight, but you have to provide some offense though with your defense. Though you just can't be defensive
But
minded
the
and
problem with
sit
that
there
is,
thinking you're gonna counter a few times and win fights.
well, yeah, I get you what you're saying. The problem, I always knew Shakur was never going to fight in his whole career like that, and that was off of one interview he gave post fight, the Nicatelia fight, and he started opening up in that fight, got hit a couple times, and then went defensive. And he said, I didn't like getting hit like that, so I just went back to my
I
defense.
remember that. I
And
remember that.
and then
And
same thing.
he knocked Taylor down in that fight.
Yep. And then there's a Peta fight. He said the exact same thing. I ain't like getting hit like that, so I'm about to go back to my defensive tip. You know what I'm saying? So that's his problem. He does not like getting hit. He doesn't like the fire. He wants
Right.
to be the matador. He always wants to be the matador. But if he gets in there with someone who has a high IQ but can fight, that's his worst nightmare. A Tank,
Mm.
or another, or a Brian Norman Jr., a fighter with a high IQ who can fight too. That's Shakur's worst nightmare, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
That's why someone like a Teofimo Lopez would always give someone like Shakur problems, because Teo can kind of switch. Like he doesn't. Teo fights up and down to his competition, and it's so bad how he does it, because you can tell when he's packing it in. But when he's in a fight against a big name, like when he fought Josh Taylor or when he fought Lomachenko, then he turns it on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but the fight
you know what I'm
Speed
saying?
Dragon and Jermaine Ortiz, he be playing with his food. Stand on
Exactly,
mark. Playing with his
leave
food.
and leaving opportunities for, hey, you look like you lost to Sandor Martin. Hey, you look like you lost to Jermaine Ortiz. Hey, what was up with that Barboza fight? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know what I'm saying? And he's all like, I ain't getting paid enough money to do my thing like that. You know what I'm saying? But bro, then either quit or get with a better manager or promoter and stop screwing around with your career right now. You know what I'm saying? So,
Moving.
and that's the thing. Like, if you were to fight a Stevenson don't really. I don't think Stevenson really wants Lopez, because he knows Lopez is going to show up, and that's one of the most, sadly, like, I guess, motivated Lopez is a thing, which shouldn't be. But yeah, that's just my whole thing. Like, so the fight with Roach, Shakur could lose that fight because Roach
That's
understands boxing, and he knows how to maneuver in the ring. Not necessarily to cut the ring off on Shakur, but put him in positions where he has to fight out.
Mm-hmm.
If you put Shakur in enough of those positions, then either he's going to shell up or he's just going to run around the ring and give. Either way, he's going to give up rounds. If you put him in positions where I can't get away, either I got to keep moving, because once I get stationary, I got to fight, and I ain't trying to fight.
yeah, bro. Like I I feel about that fight in particular. That is not no walk in the park fight for Shakur. And if he thinking that's sweet, and his fans, even his fans right now currently, they the ones that's up there like, oh man, Shakur, he a wash roach, man. Let him get roach next and everything. Like they're clamoring over it. I'm just saying that's not no walk in the park fight for Shakur, man. Shakur, like Sis said, does Shakur possess enough to keep Lamont honest? That's a question
Exactly.
right there.
Yep.
With those hurt hands, you
Mm-hmm.
don't. Hey, Zepeda, he said the punching power wasn't nothing. Even Padley said the punching power wasn't nothing. He got punched harder by other guys that was less, more notable than him. I mean, so like the punching power, we know that is limited. It's very limited, and Jab Queen, she said, of course, no, because Lamont will press the issue more than Shakur if he not worried about what's coming back, for sure. If
Exactly, Jab
Lamont,
Queen.
if
Yep.
he don't respect the power, he gonna come forward.
You don't go forward. Yep.
Look at how he treated
Yep.
Tank. Look how he treated Tank. He literally said that Tank is too small for me. You know what I'm saying? Coming up to 135, already at 130. I'm like, well, Tank is already a small guy coming down from 126. So if if Lamont's not worried about Tank's power, no, he's not worried about Shakur's either. Only thing he's worried about with Shakur is who are the judges really? Who are the judges? That's the one main thing Roshi would have to worry about. Who are the judges? Because
Where the
depending on who
fight
the
gonna
judges
be at?
are,
Where
depends
the
on
platform?
how they're gonna score this fight.
Yeah, and even with the platform, the fight, like if it's on the Saudi card, like a Turkey card, you know what I'm saying? This a
Oh,
close
with
fight.
neutral judges? I love them judges. All them
Definitely.
judges neutral.
Shakur definitely giving it. Shakur, man, he getting the edge for sure. Because they want Shakur to look good. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
it's possible. They want him to win, especially to look good over Tank. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if that fight, if they were to fight and it went to a close decision, they're giving Shakur to die if it's on a turkey course for sure. Like, we were talking about the Bud in Canelo situation earlier. For like, what, how is Bud going to win this fight with Canelo? And I was like, man, it has to be by knockout or it has to be by a widespread decision. Has to be very clear.
Very
Very
clear.
clear to
Yeah,
where
for
the
sure.
judges can't deny it. Like if it got to be where he went damn near 9, 10 plus rounds. You know what I'm saying? Where it ain't even deniable. If he lost the fight where he won 9, 10 rounds versus Canelo Alvarez, we would go in shambles the next day on YouTube. I will go live for 3, 4, 5 hours going nuts on Turkey out of sheep for sure if that was to happen. I promise you. I promise you on my day of mama I will, bro. I promise you. Like if they rob Bud from a fight where he won widespread against Canelo Alvarez September
And
13th,
that whole
I'm
a
going to go
draw
crazy.
or a loss.
You know what I'm saying? So, like I said with Bud, like Bud, he's in position of where, like, of course, they got plans for Canelo. They want, Canelo to fight Hanson Suarez. So, he got 2 more fights on that deal. With that being said, Bud has to win by, clear decision or by knockout. Because if it's a close decision in that fight as well, they're going to give Canelo the nod. They're going to show Canelo the love because they want him to move on and they want him to fight other fights where he can make some more money for these guys.
Yeah. Now, I want to talk about two more things before I
What?
wrap it up. Okay. The one is Michael Hunter. I like the guy, but it seemed like he just never got those those meaningful opportunities in the ring. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay,
He
I,
got the
I know what's up with
skills.
this one. I know what's going on. I know what's up with Michael Hunter. All right, I was a big Michael Hunter fan after I saw him go toe to toe with Usyk for the cruiserweight belt back when HBO was still around.
Mm-hmm.
This was actually like a Kazakh. This was actually like a Kazakhstan card, if I'm not mistaken. No, a Ukraine card because it had all 3 top Ukraines at the time. It had Lomachenko, Alexander, and Alexander Gvozdyk. So you had Gvozdyk, Lomachenko, and
Pop again, Pop again,
what?
something like that. What's his name? Like Pop, Pop again. The guy that just got suspended for the pigs.
Who?
JC stupid stuff. You go live 3 hours anyway. How you doing, though? I had a 2-hour show today, bro. I knew, man. I can't get the boys off the panel at times, man. It'd be crazy, man. They going crazy, dog. Yeah, that. I was in there. Povigan.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, him. Yeah, that's the other guy. I think he was like a Ukraine fighter. Yeah, he got
Yeah.
suspended for the kids in recent time, man. Like he got like indefinitely right now, I think. He
Yeah.
got caught like
Now I know what you're talking about. Yeah, so Hunter went well on that fight, and then after that moved up to heavyweight. He got a win over Piccoli. He had a draw against Povetkin, and then after that draw against Povetkin, he went and did this like team boxing thing that doesn't count for your pro record. He was on the team with like Hakeem Rockman Jr.
Oh, he's on the TCL league. TCL.
Yeah. He did that
Yeah.
for literally like 3 years. Like he did it for years. And then then signed with Don King. And that's the reason why you don't see him, is because it's almost like an unwritten rule. Like Don King literally has to notice what he had to do with Stavern. Like that was his fighter, Bermain Stavern. Like no one's gonna give Don King, like Bob Arum is gonna help him. Al isn't gonna help him. Eddie isn't gonna help him. Like get on. He has to literally have a fighter be mandatory, A, or B, somehow get a belt. And he's been able to do that from Stavern to that Dubois beat him for the regular WBA belt. I can't think of his name right now.
Trevor Bryan.
Trevor Bryan, yeah. So Trevor Bryan was Don King's fighter who somehow finessed into a WBA regular belt. And then you fast forward into Mahmoud Chard losing his WBA belt to Pulev, who's a Don King fighter. And now that's how Don King somehow has managed to stay relevant in the division, and he was able to sign Michael Hunter. Somehow he was able to get Michael Hunter, and that's why you haven't really seen him, because if you're a Don King fighter, you're not going to end up on a main card with the other promoters. It's like an unwritten rule pretty much.
Absolutely. He is not on none of that right there. You see what he just did with Big Baby Miller, man. Like, I think what happened, I'm going to tell you what happened with that happened. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. What happened was Michael Hunter, he got the call from Turkey. Turkey is a guy that calls fighters directly and makes fights. Like, literally. He did it with Keyshawn and Teofimo Lopez. He was with Keyshawn, and he called Teofimo Lopez on the spot and was trying to make a fight on the spot. So he's a guy that has fighters' numbers now, where he's contacting them directly. And I think he hit Hunter's line. He hit that man's line. He was like, yo, hey, I got this bag for you to fight Big Baby Miller. Jared Big Baby Anderson just pulled out of the fight. What's up? Let's lock you in. Hunter, he heard the bag number. He's like, I'm rocking with it. And didn't even think to talk to Don King, because he signed with Don King. Don King get word of it. He like, no, I got a heavyweight championship fight, and I'm fighting with Pulev and Hunter. No, I'm keeping that in-house. No, cease and desist on Turkey immediately. Turkey pulled that man Hunter off the fight card quick. He pulled the whole fight off the card quickly. You know what I'm saying? To where, now you got Pulev and Hunter supposed to fight coming up. I think it's supposed to be in October, I believe. So on the I think
they're trying to make it in Miami or something. It's supposed to be in Miami.
He's gonna be in Florida, because that's the last two Don King events I've seen with AB in particular, because AB's been the main event for those last two events from Don King. He's had in Florida at that like that.
That's where he lives at. That man exiled from Ohio. He can't go back.
Yeah, so you got Don King. I think AB is going to be on that card possibly too. I think for real too. They mentioned it, and then AB said it was Cat, but then AB a couple of days ago was just sharing a whole bunch of pictures with Don King and everything. I'm like, oh yeah, he must be fighting on that card. So, yeah, but Hunter,
Don King is trying to finesse his way. Don King is trying to finesse his way into the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world via Michael Hunter. How Dubois was able to do it by unifying the regular and the undisputed WBA belts. That's the fact that Don King can possibly can work his way into the undisputed heavyweight championship almost 25 years from the last time. No, the last time he promoted a major heavyweight was Sam Peter. That was his fighter. Samuel Peter was his
Big
fighter, and that
Sam.
was yeah. Who next? I want who next? Yeah, he was a WBC heavyweight champion, and that was the last like heavyweight Don King promoted. Last major fighter he promoted was Tavoris Cloud. So that was wow. Don King is that dude's how old is he? Like 90 something?
Like 91. Him and Bob Arum like the same age.
Jesus. Yeah, Jesus. Don, the fact that Don has been assassinated like by a disgruntled former fighter or something. Like
He's still out here trying to get it, man. Like
what?
They don't want to leave the game, man. The game is
Millionaire
still
Don?
even though he's not putting out. They're not doing. It's not so much content coming from Don. You see Top Rank, of course. They got a network deal they're working on, but we see the content come a lot from Top Rank. They Bob Arum has made them to be a force still reckoned with in boxing. But Don King, he's still trying to grind and do his thing, man. It ain't the best from what we've seen in the past, but
but you can't knock the hustle, bro.
Man, I can admire it. I still admire it from afar. I admire it.
Like, look, I always say this. There's a reason the dude was sued over 40 times by fighters. There's a reason only one was successful. That's it. Only one was successful. And God rest him. Now, God bless him. That's terrible Terry Norris. He sued Don King for $150 million. Don said, I'll give you 20 if you drop it. Terry said, do you hear how I talk? I need all my money. That's the only fighter to successfully sue Don King, bro. He told Ali, look, I'll give you this. Told Mike Tyson, look, I'll give you this.
That's what Michael Ward said. Michael Hunter need to lead Don King. Not with that contract, man. That contract, he got his contracts tight on them fighters, man. That's why AB think he can go somewhere. AB. You locked in over there on Don King, bro. I don't know what the contract deal is with AB and him, but obviously he can't fight on no other platform, I would say.
I told someone, I said, y'all ever notice why you can't show like the Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis fights? Don own them. Don own a Mike Tyson Holyfield rematch too. Like I always ask, like, why don't you see these fights? You know what I'm saying? From like certain, like, because Don own them. That's why. He probably sell them on his website, $5 a pop.
What was your other topic, babe?
Yeah, just before going to the last topic, shutouts, of course, the Jab Queen. She said, just a side note, Josh Padley coming back at 130.
I think that's beneficial for him.
Yeah,
They try to come down there and try to win down there a little bit. Beat some of them UK guys at 130 up there, you know what I'm saying? Get some regional titles, try to build off of, what he's doing from the Shakur fight and everything. You know what I'm saying? 135, his punching power ain't too impactful up there. He's not a puncher anyway, but him going down to 130 is probably definitely beneficial for him. And he looks like he can make the weight. He's a small 135 guy.
Yeah.
He probably might be, if he had a good nutrition, he might be able to make 126.
Yeah. All right, for the last topic, my guys, the delusional mind state of Tyson Fury. So, how Tyson is, he all over the place. He's popping up, training videos, saying this. And then he says, I'm paraphrasing, he was saying how Moses and Tama would stomp out Usyk and every heavyweight. But never naming himself to be beat by Moses, but everybody else.
Tyson Fury said a long time ago, when it comes to, I'm not fighting Dubois, I'm not fighting Bacoli, I'm not fighting none of these. I'm not fighting Parker. He even said, I'm not fighting none of these young heavyweights. I'm not doing it. He said, I'm only fighting like Usyk, Joshua, Wilder, pretty much. Like he said it like years ago, like 3-4 years ago, he was not fighting. And this was, before even Dubois was even, they asked, like, you're going to be looking to fight Dubois? Nope. nor Bacoli. He's not fighting none of these young heavyweights at all. So it's not happening. But here's my problem with Moses. Okay, Moses's win over Dillian White is pretty much equivalent to man. Razor Ruddock over Michael Dokes.
Oh wow.
That's how I compare that to. All right. I'm not saying that Moses isn't that. He got something. We just don't know how substantial it is because there's no resistance. He hasn't fought anybody to give him any resistance. And that's just due to the matchmaking of Frank Warren. Now, I just want to see him against two guys. That's it. Bacoli and Efe Ajagba. Just give me one. Just give me one of those two. Or how about the winner of the Allen Rockamore fight that's coming up?
Oh yeah,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? If I'm like, but he gotta go because for me, I want to see him fight Bacoli because to me that's a good matchup. Bacoli got is deceptively fast hands. He got a chin. He can, he's not mobile. He's not mobile, but that's fine. He ain't got to be mobile. You know what I'm saying? While Moses can show, okay, let's see what you can do against someone who's going to take a punch and return fire back.
Okay.
What are you going to do against someone with naturally heavy hands?
Yeah. I would say like with Moses, man, with for us pertaining to Tyson, and I spoke about this on the show last week, man, on the Roundtable show last week. We were talking about it being, I pulled that clip up with Tyson saying that where he was saying like all of the heavyweights, Moses, like, from his era and everything, he had beat all of those guys, and then he didn't mention himself. I'm like, bro, why you ain't mention yourself? He beat you too.
He'll beat you too, right?
He beat you too. You know it, and you ain't want to admit that. You know what I mean? So Tyson Fury, like, Turkey LC, he's on record saying that he wants to get AJ and Tyson Fury a tune up, but then of course the guys from Matchroom, Eddie Hearn, they was looking to try to fight Jake Paul, and then that didn't fall through. So now, right now, what's the next move for for Anthony Joshua? Is it going to be a Tony Yoka? You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be that fight. You know what I'm saying? I know he has aspirations of fighting in, Africa. That's something that, Anthony Joshua wants to do. So it's kind of just, kind of something, what the opponent's going to be next for Anthony Joshua on a comeback. And, Tyson Fury, like, what's your move? What is your move? Like, we want to see what you got going, bro. Like, we want to see, before it ends between both of those guys. Fury and AJ need to lock in,
For
man.
sure.
They gotta lock it in before they lay it down. They can fight each other, and then they both can retire after the fight, unless it's a competitive fight where they want to run it back in a rematch and build it up to maybe a trilogy, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like the UK, and I'm speaking for the UK right now. London, they deserve that fight. They deserve that fight. They've been clamoring for that fight for years. And they absolutely deserve that
The
fight
problem?
at Wembley Stadium right there. Both of those guys
What's
getting
crazy?
cracking, man.
If you look at the history of English boxing, there's like a lot of gaps in super fights just not happening in England, going all the way back to the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never saw Harold Graham got to fight any of the top guys. No Eubank, no Watson, no Chris, no Nigel Benn. You never got to see Carl Froch and Joe Calzaghe. You never got to see. Look how long it took Kell Brook and Amir Khan to fight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I know I'm missing some other. And I know I'm missing some other unifications, but there's a problem with guys from the UK at times just not fighting each other either at the right time or just not at all. And I don't know what's up with that, and I think it's domestic. So it's more of a bragging rights thing than anything else, I guess more of you lost to the bloke up the bin and around the corner, type of a deal.
It's weird. Like they don't want to put that on the line because they both want to say for like AJ and Fury, both of them. It's like both of them being too egotistic, where they're like, I'm the top guy in the UK, and Fury on his side saying the vice versa.
Oh,
And no, they both like, I mean, we want to see it. Who's the best between y'all two? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
From that
real,
era, we want
real
to see
quick,
it. So lock it in.
real
Why
quick.
y'all not locking it in? Like the UK deserves
I
that fight.
remember.
They've been asking for that fight. Like it's not even us, just in general. Us as boxing fans. We wanted, of course, but that country, from both of them guys being a part of that country and being from there and born from there, they
Yeah.
need to give the UK that fight. They
Yeah.
really truly do.
It's like if Frank
I
Bruno
mean,
never
Lewis
fought
and
Lennox
Bruno
Lewis.
fought.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, Bruno and Lennox fought, and that was that. And people love Lennox had a gold medal, but even though you're English, you won that for Canada. We love Bruno. You know what I'm saying? And Lennox had to say, "Well, it doesn't matter who y'all like. I'm gonna show who's the best English fighter in the world." So
Mm-hmm.
I even remember when anybody remember Junior Witter. Junior Witter was he was a WBC junior welterweight champion in the early 2000s, and he was from Nottingham, and he was always calling out Ricky Hatton. Same weight class, like, I'm the champ. Let's make the fight happen. Da 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 da. Ricky never. There's an interview with them two together, but you can kind of see that Ricky doesn't. I'm here to show face. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then we all know what Ricky went on to do, fight Kashizu, legendary career, da 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 da. But like I said, it's always funny how sometimes those domestic fights, just doesn't happen at times. And Junior Witter was a really good fighter, and it would have been a good domestic fight, and a lot of people would have most likely had Ricky to win
Is he
it. But
related to Ben? Is he related to Ben Whitaker?
no, Witter.
Well, Witcher. Okay.
Yeah, Witter. Junior Witter's known.
ER.
He fought. Junior Witter fought Zab Judah, and he fought Devin Alexander. Oh, and
Yeah,
Tim Bradley.
yeah, it was Witter. Witter.
Thomas Hill, my brother,
What
was
up,
good,
T
bro.
Hill?
What's good? What's up with you guys? What's up with
Yo.
you? Yeah, Junior Witter was big. He was a big time force moving out that way. And like you said, he didn't want to get in there. I don't know why he didn't want to get in there because at that time,
I can't. I'm trying to. It's hard for me to move.
Ricky had a problem with the left hook. Ricky had a problem with lead hooks, whether it was the left hook or the southpaw hook. But Ricky always had a problem against fighters who had a good lead hook.
You don't got to turn it off, y'all.
but what's good with my fellas though, man? Shout out Ringwalk Boxing. Shout out my man Cam J the Network. What's your name, my man?
Oh, Scooby.
Scooby. Shout out my man Scooby. Hey, y'all been cooking up here, man. I just been listening. I think that would be a great fight for the UK. There also is that fight between Wilder and AJ. But AJ got some options, very little now because he's no longer a contender.
He's one of those guys. That's crazy, bro. That's real life crazy to think about that. AJ has by far either Fury or Wilder, and Wilder and Fury got it going already.
Well, the problem was Wilder wanted $50 million to fight AJ.
Well,
that was always Wilder's price tag. 50 million.
PBC offered AJ that money, and AJ, you know what I'm saying, he started, you know what I'm saying, his tongue started getting twisted and everything.
AJ started pump faking.
Oh no. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't see this is my thing. I think it's a little bit more with AJ and Wilder in particular. I feel like I don't think AJ was ever scared of Wilder. I think it was more so Eddie Hearn moving AJ wisely. You know what I'm saying? Trying to, have him in different fights and make him a star in different areas. Specifically, you remember when, that boy Hearn brought AJ out to America and fighting out there, thinking he was gonna be like the next British Mike Tyson or something out here, y'all. I mean, we ended up, that didn't turn out well, losing to a guy like Andy Ruiz. You know what I mean? So
that man been MIA. Where's Eddie Ruiz? Where's Andy Ruiz? He is MIA after that draw with Big Baby. Where is he at?
He been. I was talking about him the other day. Yeah, he definitely been like training and stuff. So he got a comeback announcement coming soon. So he's
And where's my
back
boy
on.
Luis Ortiz? Look, bro, for real.
Tell you,
Yeah,
that
he's
would
gonna
be a
come
hell
back
of a
too.
fight right
He's
there.
another guy. Like these older guys coming back, man. Luis Ortiz, he back training and
Are
everything.
you training?
He has a fight coming up.
Okay,
I think Luis Ortiz is
that dude
fighting next
50.
week. I think he fights next week.
50
Actually, he
plus.
fights next week.
50 plus.
Shit, they should let Luis
That
Ortiz
age,
fight the president.
they lying on it. They lying on they. I'm telling you, man. Them Cuban at least 5 years older than what them numbers say, than what them ages say, because them birth documents doctored up when they came across when they defected. So I'm
Scooby,
like,
you
a lot of
gotta,
them dudes, I think they're older.
you gotta also, if they cross that ocean, boy, that puts some years on you as well too. Growing across that ocean, because they don't go on no cruise around that mud. They make you think you be in a wooden rafts or
They
whatever the fuck they be on.
they raw dogging time zones out there, bro. Like,
Now,
Yeah,
as far as
man.
Moses, I would say, as far as what Tyson Fury was saying, particularly as far as Moses. Of course, I spoke about Moses last week. I was just like, no, Moses right now, he's in a good position right now. Of course, I feel like Frank Warren, they've been moving him, decent. They've been moving him decent. You know what I'm saying? Like, Dillian White get that win right there, and then it's like, what's next? Like, no. Right now, you got Herkovic. He's number 2 in the WBO, and we don't know what's up with the whole Usyk and Parker situation. It's been a little bit quiet on that particular situation right now. We know Usyk, he's filing for that injury exception right now from the WBO, and I believe the WBO is going to approve that, like they did with Bivol, and they're going to extend that negotiations for Usyk and Parker in particular. But just know, right with Moses, if he doesn't fight Parker in particular, because I know they was, Frank Warren, he mentioned that if Usyk was to vacate and they, you know what I'm saying, and he ended up moving on and fighting somebody else, and Parker ended up being full champion, he would look for Moses to fight, Parker possibly. Now I know with the whole issue with Turkey out of
we got 3 interim heavyweight champions right now. Like, this is crazy.
crazy.
We got 3. We got Wardley, who's WBA. We got Caballel, who's WBC, and Parker, who's the second. He's on his second stint as interim WBO champion. I'm like, we got to do something right now, people. Like, how we got the division backed up in 3 different lanes right now?
Yeah, that's a fact. On top of that, you got a champion that's indisposed because he got a hand injury or something like that. So, yeah, it's gonna be tough, man. I think you can start. Oh, my bad. You could start whittling down some of the competition because there are some fights to be made.
We need a tournament or something like an undisputed number 1 contenders tournament. It's like whoever wins this, they get Usyk. Like eight men or something. You can find 8 top contenders. You sorry, Michael Hunter, you're with Don King, so you can't do it. But that's just, you know what I'm saying? Like, but no, for real, like they could do something like you could have Caballel, you could have Parker, you got Dubois, you got Wardley, you got Moses, you got Bacoli, Ajagba, and then for kicks and giggles, you could throw in Big Baby if you want to. You could throw in Andy if he comes back healthy. You know what I'm saying? That ace option could be like a wild card position or something like that. You can make a whole event out of this tournament. It could be a whole thing. Have Usyk at the final. You know what I'm saying? Sitting on the throne
know
or
who's trying to
something.
control the heavyweights right now? Majority of them guys right now, like the people's not really paying closely attention to. Turkey Al-Sheikh.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to control a lot of the heavyweight division with particular fighters in that division. He's the guy that said, "I'm not going to fund Parker versus Usyk. I'm not funding that fight."
You're not funding
You know what I'm saying? Because he wants other stuff, and I think the tournament would definitely be lit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's definitely lit. I had like 12 fighters in there, 12 or 16.
Yeah,
and 16 of them draws.
I know the World Boxing Super Series folded because they said the main problem was fighters getting injured and then pre-booking dates and venues that had cars lined up and then fell through, but they couldn't. But they had to push through with the event anyway because they already got the money locked down. That was the same problem they had with the super middleweight Super 6. You had Jermaine Taylor say, I'm done. I got knocked out by Abraham like that. I'm done. You know what I'm saying? And then Kessler said, I'm done. I'm out. You know, I'm gonna look for other options. You know, and then Glenn Johnson comes in, Alan Green comes in, and it becomes a beautiful thing at the end. But sometimes I think what prevents tournaments is that locking events down, locking down venues and dates, putting down the money. Someone gets injured, someone gets hurt. Like I remember George Grove versus Callum Smith. He was still coming off a dislocated shoulder injury in that fight.
Yeah, absolutely. And to that great degree, that's why we didn't get the big baby fight.
Yeah.
They'll say that they want to fight, but they're not locking into anything because they don't want the look or the exposure that it might bring forth to them. And that's why I don't know if you get a big baby inside that kind of contest. He don't look like he honestly look like he's in and out of the ring at the same time. Like, I don't really want to be here, but I know that I can get me a pretty sizable check.
You got a couple guys like that in boxing, sadly, though. I know what you're saying, big baby, but there's a couple guys. There's more than a few guys that you can tell they just in it for the bag. They don't care about their legacy. They just in it for the bag. Like I remember old boys talking about Jamel Charles. I said he's been MIA for going on 2 years now. Where is he? I'm surprised if he even makes a comeback because he got to explain his performance against Canelo.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you get a lot of these fighters though. They you know what I'm saying, they get some of these bags, and then you know they can definitely a lot of the fighters that's in their late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s. You know, those guys are not. You're not going to see those fighters fight 3 times a year. You know what I'm saying? It's really, you're going to see them fight twice at the max right now. You know what I mean? And that's just where we're at in boxing right now. We're not in that era where we were back in, you know, the 60s and 70s where those guys was fighting up to 20 times a year. Like those guys was getting it in back then. Like we're not in that era is way far gone. You know, the most you're gonna see, you know, guys fight like this. The prospects, they're fighting 4 or 5 times a year.
Well, that's because you got to build up the resume, and I think, look, I know people always say the modern day fighters are always better and stuff like that because of the science and stuff like that. But I always say that when it comes to boxing or almost any form of martial arts, it comes down to skill set and repetition. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of those old head guys from the 70s, 60s, and back, yeah, they got a lot of fights on their record. They didn't get paid a lot of money, no, but their skill set was so high level. There's stuff done 50 years ago in boxing that just isn't done anymore. You just do not see it in the fundamental level of boxing. And I remember James Toney saying there are no teachers in boxing anymore. He says there's maybe 2 or 3. You know, he says like Kevin Cunningham's a teacher. Abel Sanchez is a teacher. He says Freddie Roach, Garcia, Robert Garcia. You know, Ben Davison. You know, he's a teacher, but it's far and few. But Sugar Hill, but it's far and few in between. You know, there are no more Bill Millers. There are no more Eddie Futches. There are no more Emmanuel Stewarts. No more Nacho Berissteins. You know, like there are no more teachers in boxing, and we're seeing it. We're seeing athletes who can fight. We are no longer seeing like really well-seasoned fighters anymore.
That's absolute. That's absolute, and and somebody was having a conversation today about, you know, my man Boots going over there and getting some work with Canelo to help him get prepared for his fight with Crawford. Mm-hmm. The thing that makes Benavidez what he is the work that he got in sparring
with Triple G.
Exactly.
He came. People think he came under his dad. No, David and Jose came under Abel Sanchez. Exactly. They were working up out of Big Bear Mountain in California. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, the only reason Jose isn't what he is because he got shot in the knee. That's it. Jose was supposed to be that dude. You know what I'm saying? But he got shot in the knee, and that changed his whole career. But David is a product of good teaching and good boxing fundamentals. Because that fight with Morrell showed, I can do more than just brawl. I can do more than beat you up. I got head movement. I got defense. I got footwork. And I'm like, David's a full package fighter. He's very scary. But his fight with Anthony Yard, that might be a bit of a style match. You might see David move box more than we ever have before against Anthony Yard.
But you'll get a chance to see that season that you talked about.
Yes.
That nuance. You know, that's the thing that he does very well offensively and defensively that does not get recognized.
No.
People look at the aesthetics of things and say, ugh. But they don't see like the beauty of what he's doing in the ring. And like you said, that is being sorely missed in a lot of people's training. They don't get that trend. They don't get that. And a lot of them don't even look back at like older. Somebody had the nerve to say, not Floyd, Sugar Ray Patterson was a basic ass fighter and he ain't really that
Floyd
good.
Patterson?
No, Sugar Ray Robinson, my bad.
Sugar Ray Robinson was a basic fighter.
Shakur said that. He's the guy
Yeah,
that
Shakur said that in the interview.
Him and Bud.
Sugar Ray invented punches. He literally invented punches. Like, I don't know what to say outside of that. He literally invented punching techniques that hadn't been done before. The bolo punch and the corkscrew punch, the shovel punch. You know what I'm saying? Like, there were Sugar Ray Robinson. We don't even know how good he really is because like the first 90 fights are lost. Like we all the footage we have of him at middleweight, we don't have no footage of him at welterweight. His literal prime is his real prime. We don't even know how good he really was.
Exactly.
So, I mean, the dude, the only reason he's not a 3-division champion because there was no 168 at the time.
Yeah, and then you look at the footage on like Henry Armstrong, and you
Jesus
get to
Christmas, bro. Yeah, continue.
You see, you just get to see the seasoning that is lacking in today's sports. You can see somebody with boatloads of potential and talent. Say for instance, a David Morrell, who has everything you would ask for in a fighter, don't have that seasoning. Don't have that application of how to use the tools that you really got. You just got hella tools.
But do you know what I think that's from, though? He's not he's this new generation of Cubans who are training in America as their base, not the Cuban base, like Gamboa, Ortiz, Lara, Richard Abril, Disable Hurtado, Joel Casamayor. Those guys had that super long, extensive amateur technical fundamental base. You know what I'm saying? And then when they came into boxing, they were literal grown men. And they already knew how to.
Yuli Hernandez. He's a Cuban guy that's right now at 160 that's making some noise.
Who?
Yuli Hernandez from Cuba.
Yeah. Then you got and then you got Olie Iglesias at 168 right now.
Yeah.
But the current crop of Cubans are more action because they're being trained for an American promoter's eye. They're not being trained for technical fundamental boxing for the Olympics and to win international tournaments. You know what I'm saying? Like Lara Ortiz and those guys are boxers who know how to fight. These new Cubans are just like the Americans, great athletes who can fight.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100% because that's exactly the prime example for Yuli Hernandez, a Cuban that got skills, got footwork, all of that, athleticism, young, powerful, but he will get in there and fight with you. That man is nasty in that ring, man. That's a nasty guy in that ring for sure, man. And David Morrell, I don't think he got that 100% same mean streak as Yuli Hernandez has. Because I felt like in that last fight, man, he could have handled business a little bit more and cleared that fight a little bit with that guy.
Who you talking about?
I forgot the guy. I can't think of the dude's name. That was the dude that popped. He popped for Pez up there in Russia. He's banned to fight in Russia, but he can fight in America, though.
Okay. Damn, you must have been on some shit if Russia said you can't come back.
Yeah, it was a drug test from like 2023 or something like that. It was like the old, like a couple years ago.
Okay.
But it kind of popped up on recent time, and then he cleared all his drug tests leading up to fighting Morrell, so he was good to go with Morrell. But
Yo, eat
Rucker
the
got a
mom.
lot right up there. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Like the thing with Morrell, I think Morrell needs to leave. He's with Ronnie Shields. He needs to leave Ronnie Shields, and he needs to get with Ishmael Salas because Ishmael Salas long.
I think I heard something about Morrell leaving recently, man. I had to check a little bit, 100%.
Because you
But
know why?
I think I heard something about him leaving recently, though.
Why does Rolly Romero look so good now? He's been with Ishmael Salas. Ishmael Salas trained
Man, it's
countless
almost like
Olympic
light and day.
Cuban. He trained countless Olympic Cuban boxers. Countless. That's where Lara is. Lara's with Ishmael Salas. That's why he looks like a rejuvenated in his 40s at 160. You know what I'm saying? Like Ishmael Salas is a great teacher. The fact that he took Rolly from being someone who we lost hope in pretty much, and now Rolly is a legitimate 2-division world champion. He's about to get elevated to full welterweight champion pretty much. And I hope they make him fight him versus Mario Barrios, because Rolly would beat Barrios at this point.
You know,
Morrell did switch. He switched to Abel Sanchez. Go ahead, Tia. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say just in concurrence with his teaching moniker, man. You could see the work that Salas put in with Rolly, and the way he controlled and manipulated that lead hand by Garcia. He made sure he checked that bad boy all night. He made sure he checked that left all night. That sucker was not about to come out that holster. So
I had to double check and make sure this was Rolly I'm watching.
Absolutely, bro. He did some fabulous work. And you can see that and shout out to Rolly for soaking up the teaching, man, because it's not easy to accept something
this shows that the things they were saying about Rolly leading up, like that Rolly is really, really good. Everyone always told that Rolly was good and was just raw, but I didn't know Rolly was a student. And this shows that Rolly really is a student, when put in the right direction. He's really good at that. So I'm happy to see what Rolly's going to do with his career moving forward.
Yeah. I'm definitely liking what Salas is doing with Rolly, and now you got Morrell. He's with Abel Sanchez now. You know what I'm saying?
That's gonna be better for him. That's gonna be better for him because Morrell seems to have a problem with controlling his own distance. Morrell fights like he isn't as big as he is sometimes.
Right. I don't like that.
And that takes away from his power.
I felt that way about Anthony Joshua at times, that he didn't fight up to his size in certain particular fights.
No, he didn't. And like Andy Ruiz, like I remember when he dropped Andy Ruiz with a left hook, I said no. And so like, what do you mean he just dropped him? I said he dropped him with a short man punch. Mm-hmm. He's 2 to 3 inches taller with 5 inches of reach. He's gonna think he can catch him again with another left hook. And that's Ruiz's punch, a left hook. And guess what happened? When they traded hook, you never hook with a hooker. Never. You never hook with a hooker.
Yep, he learned that day. He learned that day for sure.
And someone's all like, I've never seen someone upset that someone got a knockdown. Sometimes how you do things matters. And boxers go back to what works. If a left hook knocks you down, they're probably going to go back to the left hook that knocked you down again. So that's just me understanding fighting and being a fighter before.
Yeah. AJ ended up getting something off and thought he could do it again.
Yeah, going to that statement where you said you never hook with a hooker, man, that's in real life, man. You hook with a hooker, they end up taking you for everything they got and leaving a little bit left with you. Never do that, because that's their forte. That's something that they're known for doing. They professionality. And my man, they professional with it. And, unfortunately, a lot of times you get tempted because it's a fun punch and it looks exciting when it connects and lands. But there's a purpose for throwing it, and sometimes people don't understand that purpose. There's a timing thing with it. They just like the devastation it causes and the look that it gives people when it connects. But you want to, when you're going with them, you want to be straight and you want to shoot at angles. You want to change levels and shoot with length, shoot straight, and you know, and like you said, man, unfortunately for AJ, and it's been that fight. He's always had bravado issues. Like he's had this level of machismo to try to, because I don't think he's ever fully been invested in who he is as a boxer. Somebody told me he was manufactured. He's not really a boxer. He was manufactured.
Because I remember when he was training with Ben Davison, and Davison was trying to teach him the cross arm guard, and AJ was like, "I've never seen this before," and he's all like, "This guard got Archie Moore over 130 knockouts." Who? And that's how I really understood AJ, he's not a student. He's just a dude that literally fell into an Olympic gold medal. He's probably some dude that they found at a gym and talked into the boxing gym. You know what I'm saying? And him not knowing what the cross arm guard is as a heavyweight, Foreman used the cross arm guard, and then not knowing who Archie Moore is, automatically let me know that, he's not a student. He's not in this for the boxing legacy of things at first. Like now we know he is. But no, he was never really sure of himself, because there are some situations where he would let some guys slide, talking slick to him, but then certain guys that you knew he just really didn't like them, because he would press them back, you know. And in my opinion, he didn't take Andy seriously. There are some other fights he nearly didn't take seriously, like the first Dillian White fight, and the fight with, I don't think he took the Dubois fight seriously either, in my opinion. I think he saw Dubois as like an inferior heavyweight compared to him. And he paid for it dearly, because he fought Dubois like he didn't know what Dubois was good at. I was expecting AJ to box more. You know what I'm saying? A little bit, stay behind his jab a little bit more, because Dubois has no head movement. And Dubois holds his hands funny. You know what I'm saying? He's literally
Dairy Queen boxing system in the building. You know what I'm saying? This is good conversation, bro. One thing though, like with Moses, what y'all think about what's the better fight for Moses and Tuma though? Let me ask Bean first. What you think? Herkovic or Coley? You know what I'm saying? Those are the two fights that I'm thinking in mind right off the bat. I don't think Caviel is happening right now. I damn sure know Usyk ain't happening right now. And Parker maybe Parker. You know what I'm saying? Depending on if Usyk don't fight, Parker.
I think
there's three options in my opinion. I think
Bacoli's the best fit.
I think it's either Bacoli or Wardley.
I think Bacoli's good because he does a lot of. Vergil puts that pressure on you. He keeps coming. He's trying to grind you down and get his man up out of there. So I think that'll be good because it'll show the skills Moses has on the back foot. Because he's going to have to back foot. He's going to have to.
That's the only way you can beat Bacoli.
And all that.
Outside of what Parker did, Parker caught. People look at the Parker loss like that's a temple shot. That'll put anybody down. That'll put a rhino down. The perfect punch to the temple. That was just all equilibrium. And then that was a 3-week. He took that fight on 2-week notice, and he already had the Ajagba fight lined up. That's why his corner said, no. Let's call it now. We don't need you getting hurt, messing up the money for the next fight.
I thought you were looking at me. Okay.
But in my opinion, I think they're gonna try and make Moses versus Wardley because it's a domestic fight. It'll make money in England. And then if Moses wins, which he should, because Warley has consistency issues, and that'll give Moses the interim belt and more of a footnote to try and get the Usyk fight. I think we're going to see Moses versus Wardley next. I want Bacoli, but business. If I'm a promoter, I'm making Moses versus Wardley. I'm calling Frank Warren. Wait, who is Wardley with? Is he with Frank Warren too?
Yeah, he with Frank Warren.
Make in-house fight. Make that happen. Double the money. Yeah.
Herkovic with Frank Warren as well. You know what I'm saying? Herkovic's number 2 in the WBO, so that's a fight that I think they'll probably make before Warley in particular, because Herkovic's too.
And Hergovich cuts easy.
That's a good fight. Herkovic, yeah, I know he didn't look good in the fight with Joe Joyce. He looked good in that fight in particular. But
Or
Herkovic,
Zhilei Zhang. People forget he fought Zhilei Zhang, and people thought Zhang beat him. I thought Zhang beat him.
Me too. I thought
Herkovic was cool with Adelaide.
Yeah, I think Hergovic Moses is a good fight, and it gives Moses an opportunity because Hergovic cuts easy.
Moses needs rounds. That's the main thing that everybody is speaking about.
Rounds.
Like, he needs some rounds because he's just demolishing these guys in 1 to 3 rounds, and he's not getting the rounds that he needs. You know what I'm saying? So competitive rounds, and he needs some of that before he fights any of the champions, in my opinion, for sure. Just looking at it.
I wouldn't be surprised if they try to give him Boatsi.
I believe Moses has all the ability to beat a lot of those guys, in heavyweight, maybe besides BL and Usyk. But at the same time, he needs more rounds, though, to definitely build and be prepared for those fights when they come upon him.
I need to see a big dog take a punch. That's what I need to see. I need to see a big dog can take a real heavyweight punch. I need to see how he deals with getting hurt. I need to see how he deals with getting knocked down. I got to see this in order for me to believe in anything with him, and that's just me.
You need a little bit of diversity and mobility.
I need someone to give him resistance. I need someone to push him hard, and he knocks his ass down. That's what I need to see in order to believe in you as a heavyweight. Because the only 2 reasons I'll believe in a heavyweight: if they show a consistent level of beating opposition, or if they push hard and consistently push back even harder. Like Abaye, I don't know how he beat Chisora. Chisora's a top 10 heavyweight, and he easily beat Derek Chisora, easily. And I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Let me keep an eye on him, because sometimes in the heavyweight division you get matchups that get 50 wins, but then he kept winning and kept winning and kept winning. And then he beats, then he beats then he beats when he beat because when he beat Frank Sanchez, like, oh, nobody's trying to fight Frank Sanchez. He'll be next great heavyweight. Where is he? We had to see him get beat by Abaye.
And that's the game plan for most about it. Have him fight Hergovic. Maybe either like a Worthy or Bacoli or Caviel.
Do you still got Josh Watson now? And they can try and make it happen. When he ain't trying to fight like a lot of options, it depends on they're really going to get the Usyk fight though.
That's a question. And Moses, he's not reckless right now. No, he's I love that. That's a fight that gotta be made for sure for those guys in the heavyweight division, but I don't think he's ready for that fight yet. He needs like a fight or 2 before that actual fight. You know what I mean? Because we all talked about this now. Like, he needs some rounds that's gonna push him. He needs some pushback. He needs some so we need to see him with a little bit of vulnerability, a little bit of adversity. You know what I'm saying? Him make some adjustments in the fight. We want to see that from him because all of the guys he's stepping in front of right now, he whooping them. But then, hey, whatever's the case, if he get out there and he start cooking a lot of these dudes, like, you know what I'm saying, like the guys that we naming, like a Herkovic and Caviel, and he cooked these guys, no similar, then we like, shit, this guy really like that for real. Like, he really him. Like, you know what I mean? We looking at him like, shit, all right, give him music now. Boy, give him one of them guys this champion there. You know what I mean? Like, boy, give him them guys.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Well, fellas, I'm gonna go ready and close it down, man. I appreciate y'all following through, man.
Absolutely.
T Hill, Scooby, Cam J, of course. I really appreciate
boys,
y'all,
take
man.
care of yourself.
You too. We're gonna link back up next Sunday. We'll be back. Link it back up again, man.
Back next Sunday with you.
All right, my brothers, y'all have a safe one. And
Yeah, we can.
okay. All right. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody that showed up and showed out tonight on the panel, man. It was a good format that we put down tonight. Everybody have a safe night, and I'll see y'all next Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, USA Ring Walk Boxing Podcast. Go in the description area, the merch, and all that kind of good stuff. And have a safe one, and I'll catch y'all on the next round. Peace.